Hey everyone, so I just got back from my Europe trip yesterday and I just could not wait to sit down and film this video for you guys because I went with EF again, and my London, Paris, Barcelona trip was my fourth trip, and then from there I did a Switzerland tour with fellow ambassadors, which was really fun. So now I've been on 5 EF tours and have another one booked in the fall. So I am obsessed and I have that travel bug, and I'm now so excited to recap my experience with you guys. If you guys are interested in any other tours that I've done with them, I'll have that link down below. I've done some other trips with them, and I've gone solo with them, and I've gone with friends and have had equally as fun and as great of an experience. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. Alright guys, so like I said, I'm gonna be recapping the London, Paris, and Barcelona trip. And this trip was actually my first plus experience. I've always done the essential or standard tours, and this one I did the plus option to try it out and see how I liked it, which I will say I did really enjoy having the just one other person in a room with you and staying in rooms that weren't hostels. But if that's not in your budget, I still have had as amazing experiences with the essential and standard tours. And before I forget, if you guys are interested, I will have a link down below if you guys want to book a tour in the future. If you use my link, you get an extra $100 off, so I'll have that link down below. So we started our tour in London, and my flight arrived a little bit later, so I really only had time to check in and get ready for the welcome dinner. Met everyone in the lobby of our hotel, and just right away I was like so excited just to have this type of room, just because my last tour in Ireland, in one of the stops we had 6 people in one room. It was an experience, and luckily everyone was so cool and it was great, but I was very excited to just have a little bit more space. At our welcome dinner I had fish and chips. It was good, and right after I went straight home and went to sleep. That way I was ready to go for our next day. So the next day we had a walking tour. So we headed off and took a train into the West End because our hotel was on the east side, and so we walked around, had a guided tour of everything, and it was just so lovely. Like the weather too, we got so lucky because the sun came out and it wasn't raining, and the day before it was raining and gloomy, and which you could expect in London, but we were very lucky because when we got there it was sunny and it was really nice that day. So we walked around and explored the city, and then we later had an extra excursion which was optional. You could do the London Eye and do high tea. So we did do the London Eye, and those views were so beautiful. At this point it did get gloomy, but it still was great. It was cool to see everything, and I feel like it's such a touristy thing. So yeah, I had to do that, and afterwards we had like a river cruise where we had tea, and I think this was like one of my highlight experiences from London. So we were on this beautiful large boat, and on the bottom it was basically like a restaurant, and we were served tea and drinks and with incredible views of the city. It was so nice. And yeah, this was definitely a highlight. I was like so tired though. Like I definitely napped on that boat afterwards, but it was seriously such a cool experience. Another thing that our tour director actually had optional, which this was my first experience with that. I normally haven't been on many tours where the tour guide will like give optional excursions you can buy once you're there, but once we're there she had 1 or 2 in every city that we stopped at, and I ended up just getting all of them. I was like, I want to see everything, so I ended up booking all of them. In London we had the pub crawl. I did that and it was actually so much fun. We did 5 different bars, and we started at one and you got a free drink at each one, and it was very cool. The first one, it was so early, like it was really just us, so it was good to just warm up and chill with the drink. And then we walked over to another bar, and it was a karaoke bar, which was so much fun. A lot of people in our group were up and singing. It was a great time. And then we went to this third bar, and this one was our favorite one. They played such good music. We honestly could have been there all night. It was so much fun. Then from there we went to a 4th bar, which it was it was really cool, but I didn't like the music, so like I didn't have that great of a time. Like I was ready to go after that one. But it was, this bar had like a ball pit in it, and it was actually so cool. But after a little bit you're good to go. You don't have to be there that long. And then after that We ended at another bar, but I was like ready to go home, and I was exhausted after that, so I went home after the 5th bar as soon as we got to the 5th bar. And then the next day was our free day, so there were a couple things on my list that I wanted to do that day. I wanted to take pictures in front of the phone towers. I wanted to go to Buckingham Palace because on our tour we actually didn't go and see it. And then I wanted to go to this really cute high tea place for morning tea that I saw on TikTok. I did want to go to Borough Market, but we actually didn't have a chance to go. We just like ran out of time. And then I wanted to also go to the Black Dog to see the restaurant that inspired Taylor Swift's song, so we did that. We started off our day at this place. It was called Peggy Portion or something like that, and it was the cutest little place for high tea. And I will say it was so easy for us to get around because you're given like the transportation card, so once you do it the first day, it's really easy to figure out how to get around. So we mostly took the train everywhere once we got the hang of it. But yeah, this tea place was so cute, and you definitely have to make a reservation. So if there's anything that you want to do, definitely make reservations, because that was one thing we didn't do with the Black Dog. We didn't make reservations, and you needed a reservation way in advance. But for the high tea place, that morning I looked and there was one more reservation open, and it was an hour from that time. So I was like, should we go? And they're like, yes, book it right now. So I literally booked the reservation, and then we like left 10 minutes later. We got lucky with that. So we had high tea there, and then after that, we went to Buckingham Palace, walked around a bit. That was really fun. Walked around the park, took pictures at the telephone tower. Then we went to the Black Dog, and then after that, again, same thing. Because we were planning on having dinner at the Black Dog, and then once we realized that we weren't gonna have a reservation there, we were hungry, so wanted to go to Borough Market, but we didn't realize that they closed at 3, I think 3 or 4. And at that time it was already 3 or 4, because we were planning on eating and having like our dinner there, because there's so many foods that we wanted to try, but we didn't know it closed so early, I think because it was a Sunday. So that kind of threw a wrench in things. So we went to the Black Dog expecting to have dinner there, but yeah, like I said, there's no reservation. So in that moment, I was looking on TikTok for like recommended restaurants, and I found one that had a reservation. Same thing, it was like there's only one more available like 20 minutes after. So in that split second, decided to book the reservation and called an Uber immediately so we can make it. And we were just a couple minutes late to our reservation, but we did make it, and that dinner was so good. That restaurant was called Ave Mario or something like that, Avenue Mario. Such good Italian food, and that restaurant was so cool. Like the vibes were so great. Even the bathrooms were really cool, so I actually do recommend that restaurant. It was delicious. And yeah, do want to go back and go to Borough Market. I totally wish I knew that it closed early. We would have somehow figured out how to make that work if we knew, but yeah, next time, because I do want to go back. So the next morning, it was already time to leave for Paris. So we woke up early and took a train to Paris. And once we got there, it was raining, but after then we had great weather the rest of our Paris trip. So we got really lucky with that. Our hotel at this place was really tight and small, but overall it had a great like breakfast in the morning and stuff. So, and it was very close to like one of the metros, so it was very easy to get around, and I did like it overall, other than it being smaller. But after getting there and taking a quick nap and getting ready, we had our walking tour and our dinner and our meal at this one restaurant. I don't even know what it was, but this meal was included with EF, and it was so good. They said it was like a traditional like Parisian food, but it was like beef with potatoes. It was so good. One of my favorite meals I had there. And then after that, we walked to have our river cruise, and we actually did miss our reservation time for our river cruise. And this also was, I think this was included with EF. I don't remember. I think you did have to buy it before. But yeah, we missed it, but we were luckily able to get on in the next hour and a half. So while we waited, we went to a nearby bar and had drinks, and that our tour director paid for, which was really nice. So we chilled there, and then we went on our river cruise, and that was another highlight of this trip. We got to see the Eiffel Tower lit up, and we got to see it sparkle, and that was so fun. And it was just insane. Like being on that boat and seeing the views, it was so nice. And I will say, I feel like we got so lucky because if we would have made it onto our boat ride, like all of the top seats on the boat would have been full, we would have been on the bottom, and it would have been as nice of an experience. But because we were like the first to get there on the second time, we got great seats and it ended up working out really nicely. So that was another highlight of the trip. Then the next day, we had a busy day. We started off our day with our guided tour, but it was mostly on a bus, which was actually pretty nice. Not too much walking, we got to chill. So we had our bus tour of Paris and got to see a lot. And then we went and took our bus ride to Versailles. So we went inside and we went outside in the gardens, and I will say we ended up getting in there a little late, so we had less time outside, and I really wish we had more time in the gardens than actually inside the palace. But it was so beautiful, it was very cool to see, and the gardens just were insane, and wish I got to explore them more because they were so beautiful, and I just loved it so much. And then after that, we had another optional like bistro that was recommended that our tour director put together, and I did opt in for this one, and that was another highlight of this trip. It was so much fun. Like, there was live music and the food was great. I tried escargot and I did like it, I will say. I always thought I would never try it, but I was like, you know, when in Paris, any country I'm in, I try all of the cuisines and delicacies, city or country. So I was like, I gotta do it, and it was actually good. So now I say, if you like oysters or mussels, you'll definitely like it. If you don't like those, expect not to like it. But that was so much fun doing that little bistro. And then after the bistro, went home, went to sleep. Then we started our morning the next day at Carrette. One of the things I wanted to do really badly, and luckily had a few other people who also wanted to go. So it was the one we saw, the popular one on TikTok where you see like the famous hot chocolate. And we got there early expecting there to be a line and it being so busy, but it actually was very empty. I think we got there at like 8:30, and yeah, it was like empty. So I will say, I don't know how it is later on in the day, or if we just got there really early, I don't know, but early in the morning, 9, 10, you're good to go. Zero wait, and it was delicious. Literally the hot chocolate and the croissant, it looked like literally out of my Pinterest that I've had saved. Like, it was so cool and it was delicious. 10 out of 10 experience, loved it. After that, we walked to the Louvre. We did not go inside it. We were outside and took pictures, and then we took a train ride to the Arc, took pictures there. We did have a lunch break and had some French McDonald's. That was good. And then after that, we went to a couple spots to take pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower. We ended up being extra and buying the bouquet of flowers to take with our pictures, and I don't regret it. That was like so fun, and I had always seen people do that, and it was so cute, and I loved that. And it was right there, right where we were taking pictures too, so it was so cute. Love that. And then we went to another spot, took pictures, made some TikToks, which was fun. And then we had dinner reservations at Bambini. I had looked for some dinner reservations hoping to get some of the view, and there were so many on TikTok that either had no more reservations, or in order to like have a view of the Eiffel Tower were crazy expensive, and we literally lucked out like crazy. The restaurant in the evening opened up at 7, and we had our reservation at 7, and we were like the second people in line waiting for them to open doors because we got there about 10 to 15 minutes early. And we just got so lucky because there's only like a handful of seats with the view of the Eiffel Tower, and we got so lucky to get that view since we were like one of the first to enter. It was just an incredible experience. We were not even expecting to be outside with the view, and it just was a highlight of the entire trip. It was so cool, and the pasta was impeccable. It was a truffle pasta, and it was so delicious. Loved that experience so much. And then later on in that night, right after, we had a cabaret, which was another one of those excursions that they had optional to do once you're there, and that was really cool. I had no idea what to expect, and it ended up being super fun. A lot of variety of music, and those dancers were just so good. And it was definitely a cool experience, and something I probably wouldn't have done if I hadn't known about it. So that was really cool. And then the next day, it was time to leave to Barcelona. So we took a plane ride early morning to go to Barcelona. These rooms were so much bigger. I would say probably the nicest hotel we stayed at yet. It was so nice, just a lot more room. And again, very close to the metro station, so it made it super easy to get around. When we got there, we all went to lunch at this restaurant nearby that our tour guide recommended, and it was so delicious. We had tapas, and I'm glad we had it because there's so many things on the menu that I wouldn't have known what to order, but we literally ordered like half of the menu and just shared it like traditional tapas, and it was so good, and it was such a great experience. So I'm really glad we all did that and had that and sangria. Then we walked around and our tour director showed us one of the famous markets, and that was such a cool market. Oh my gosh, I wish I was not full from what I had just ate because there were so many yummy treats I wanted to try. It looked so good, but my friends and I, we had a reservation at this restaurant that was all over TikTok, so we made a reservation there, even though we're not that hungry still, but we're like, well, we still have a reservation, so we'll go. And it ended up being really good. It was like a steakhouse, and we shared a steak and a salad. We got desserts. We're like joking how we were so full, but yeah, we still ordered steak, salad, desserts, and sangria. But it was such a great experience, very cool restaurant. Then we started our long busy day in Barcelona. We started our day again with a guided tour that was on the bus and saw a lot of Barcelona. And then after that, we went to Park Güell. It was so beautiful and it was so nice, and I feel like we also got so lucky with the weather here because days before we got there, it was raining for days, and when we got there, weather was super sunny and clear. It wasn't too hot. It was in the late 70s, and I'm like, I can't believe it even gets warmer than this because it was really hot when the sun was out. But yeah, we went to the park, and then after that, we had lunch at this restaurant, and we had chicken and fries, and it was so good, and champagne, which we said we're like, the combo was so interesting because it was literally like a rotisserie chicken, fries, and champagne. We're like, what a combination. But it was great food. After that, we went to La Sagrada Familia and we went inside. It was really beautiful. Then after that, we had dinner reservations we made again on TikTok. There was this restaurant on the water, which we all wanted, like a water beachfront dinner, and it was so nice. Great experience. The restaurant was so beautiful. It was very modern and sleek, and I had a delicious meal. Again, sangria is my drink of choice in Barcelona. So good, with beautiful views of the water, and it was just so nice. Had a nice sunset view. Then after that, we went to a flamenco show, and the flamenco, I was actually so sleepy, but I'm glad I went. But it was cool to see, but I was like falling asleep at this point. Yet we knew it was like really our last night to really go out, because after the following day was our flights home. So we're like, okay, if we want to go out, we have to go out tonight. So I was like rallying and pushed through, because I was like, I always hear about Barcelona clubs, and there was one that was recommended to us like so many times. I even heard other people recommend it. So we were like, okay, we have to go to this one, and plus it was really close to our hotel. But we went to this club called Razzmatazz, and guys, I did not like it at all. None of us did, actually, and I was like ready to go. I was like, okay, I gave the club scene a chance, but I'm like, I could enjoy a club if they're at least playing good music, because like I'm not a club gal, but they're playing like music I can sing along to. Like I could do it every once in a blue moon, and I thought this would be the time. No, I thought it would be really cool, because what's so cool about it is that it's huge. There's like 5 different rooms that supposedly play like 5 different like types of music in each room. So I thought it was gonna be like that, but no, you go to each room, they literally sound the same. It's like, if you like EDM, techno, I don't know, there is no songs with words. Some people are into that, but I did not enjoy. So we stayed for like an hour and a half and then went home around 2:30. Which is crazy because the club didn't even open up until 1. So like partying out until like 5 a.m. is such a real thing. And I'm like, I'm sure if it was good music, I probably could have done it. But I was like, no, I'm ready to go to bed. So went to bed, and then we had our last day in Barcelona. And we started off our day having a tapas food tour. And I will say, I feel like I could have skipped on this experience just because like the tapas at the other restaurant I thought were so much better. The one that we like went to with our tour director that first day we got there. I thought that food was so much better than the food we tried during the food tour. We went to 2 different ones and had a couple different tapas, and yeah, I was like, could have skipped that. But after that, went to the Ark and took pictures and saw that. Then we went back to La Sagrada Familia, got some souvenirs. We were hoping to get into this one restaurant with the rooftop bar with the view of La Sagrada, but that one, same thing, you had to have reservations booked in advance. So if you're planning on going and you want to go to that popular rooftop with the view in the back, you'll definitely need reservations in advance, which we did not have. So what we tried to go and see if there was opening. Yeah, no. So after that, we went back to the hotel, rested before our farewell dinner. So yeah, our dinner was very good. We had like a 3-course meal at this really nice restaurant. And after our restaurant, we all went to a bar nearby. It was called the Pink Corner, and it was honestly so much fun. And I was like, this is so much more my vibe. And I'm like, I wish I had time to explore like the bar scene a little bit more, just because like I love bars a lot more. That's more my vibe. And like they were playing good music, and it was just us, our whole group, just enjoying that last night together. The drinks were great, and it was just a great time. Like, I'm like so glad I did that. There's some other bars I wanted to try, but I was like, my flight was so early in the morning. My flight was at like 9, and I had to be up by like 5:30 the next day. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. So I went back after we all went to the bar. Some people stayed out and did karaoke, but yeah, I went home, went to bed, and that was the end of my trip. I ended up flying, instead of flying home, I went to my Switzerland trip, but I want to maybe talk about that in a whole separate video, because that was like a brand trip with EF, which was super cool. But yeah, that is my wrap up of my London, Paris, Barcelona trip. I had an incredible experience. If you're thinking about doing it, I highly recommend it. This trip was such like a bucket list experience for me. I had wanted to go see those 3 cities so bad, and I went solo, and I had an incredible time. I met so many great people. I had so much fun, and I'm glad I did it, because this is now my 2nd trip that I went solo, and I had a great experience. And if you're in the same boat and like don't have people to go with you, like book that trip, because you're gonna meet people there, and it's like the best way. Like travel, like the quote, like travel solo, not alone. It's so true. Like you meet people there, you'll make friends, and it's a great way to like travel the world and do all the things that you wanted to do. And I'm just so glad I did it. Like everything's just a 10 out of 10 experience. Like I love it so much. And if you guys have any questions, leave some down below. And again, if you want $100 off your EF trip, use the link. I'll have it down in my description and in my bio. If you buy your trip directly through that link, you get $100 off your price, and that'll be at checkout. Thank you guys for watching this video. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.